So there's a treat in store tonight as we continue our journey through the minor prophets. Tonight we hit Haggai and we're into the 6th century. You remember that I've said the minor prophets take us through 300 years of history. And with these final three minor prophets, beginning with Haggai, we're into the 6th and the 5th centuries. So we've had the destruction of Jerusalem and the complete destruction of the temple in 587. The people have been taken into exile by the Babylonians. And now, as we hit Haggai, they're beginning to return. Haggai dates from around 520 to 516. So he's a good 60 years before Ezra. But much of what he talks about concerns the rebuilding of the temple, just as Ezra does. And what's happening as the people are beginning to return is they're sorting out the land, they're getting things back in order, but the center of their life is missing. The works on the temple have started but stopped, and God says very clearly through his prophet, through Haggai, sort the center out. There's something missing and it needs to be filled. So in the book of Haggai, we read how through him the people are exhorted to start building the temple. And within a month, they begin the building works. Can you imagine? No faculty in those days for any change to a religious place of worship. They just crack on. And within a few days, 23 days, I think it is, they're up and running, they're building. And a month later, there's a celebration. The name Haggai actually means my festival. So anytime you eat a donut, you can think of Haggai, how his prophetic call was to pay attention to the center, and you can enjoy it celebrating with someone whose name was festival. What a great thing to have. But there's a serious message here about paying attention to what's at the center of things. What is at the very center around which everything else revolves in a community's life? And even in the book of Haggai, it's more than just about bricks and mortar. Because as we journey through into chapter 2 and the Lord speaks again, he makes it very clear that as the temple is being rebuilt, one day he will be there in the temple. Like in the days of old, he himself will dwell in that temple. As in Ezra chapter 3, there are hints of people who remember the glory of the former temple, saying, oh, it's not like it was in the old days. But in chapter 2 of Haggai, God gives encouragement and says, don't worry about the walls. What's important is what's in the walls, and I will be with you. I will return to my house. I will return to my people, and I will be at the center of things. And once again, from my people, out of my people, I will raise up a king from the line of David. And Haggai, all the way through, is talking to a political leader, Zerubbabel, and a religious leader, Joshua. No, not that one. That was centuries ago. A different Joshua, who is the high priest. But what Haggai's vision of is of how those roles almost come together, the kingly role and the priestly role, at the heart of things, at the center of the nation's life. And of course, for those of us who are Christians, we know all too well how those things come together in Jesus. How through his ministry, he scratches away at those who think they hold those positions, and yet ever so calmly and humbly demonstrates how he fulfills them in himself, bringing together those kingly and priestly roles. But all that's to come. For now, Haggai is with his people, encouraging them to build the walls, and more than that, encouraging them to pay attention to the center and to make way for the Lord who is going to come and to fill that space himself. So celebrate with Haggai and enjoy a donut.